and also the development of young leaders and the development of young people, and using sport, using women's basketball in particular in this case, as the vehicle for developing people. And then getting us back to where we expect to be. We expect to be winning conference championships, going to NCAA tournaments. That's the bar that's been set here at the University of Montana. And so his plan to get us back to that and making sure that we're doing that every year, he was clear and articulate in that as well. So it's really my pleasure to introduce the next Lady Griz head coach, Nate Harris. Nate, you can go ahead and say what you think, and then we'll just take questions.
Thanks. Appreciate that. Obviously, anytime in a professional setting, especially when you get a opportunity as uniquely special as this one, there's a series of thank yous. And so professionally, starting from the top down, Clay Christian with the Commissioner of Higher Education, President Bodner, the chance to sit down with him and talk about this when we did was really unique and just shows his commitment to our athletics programs and them being as good as they can be. Athletic Director Haslam and his passion for the success of Lady Griz basketball, and then all the way through our administration. We have a tremendous administration that makes it this makes this a really, really special place to work and a really, really unique opportunity. I truly believe that this is one of the best mid-major jobs in the country, and we're gonna show that on the floor, and we're gonna show that on a day in and day out basis in the way we behave, in the way we compete, and in how we approach everything here. Beyond that, there's two other groups of people that I wanna thank before I get into the personal setting. But the first one, the assistants, the other coaches that were with us on this 7-week adventure. 3 of them are here, but Kayla, Emma, Lindsay, Hope isn't here, but just their commitment to showing up every day, their commitment to the young people in the room, and their commitment to finding a way through what wasn't the easiest time. I think all of us will remember it as one of the most unique times in our coaching journeys, and just their commitment to the program and to the young women was awesome, and very, very thankful for them, and very, very thankful for their willingness to stay on. Like we've had the meetings, and we're all planning on moving forward and being a part of Lady Griz basketball together and continuing to make this place great. The second group would obviously be, I shouldn't have even done them second, because the most important group, they're represented today by Danny here, but just the young women that we worked with those final 7 weeks. They had so many chances, so many chances to cash in their chips and just end the season and limp in and find a way, just find a way out of it without giving everything they gave. And for them to show up the way they did for each other, most importantly, but then also for themselves, and do something really special and create lifelong memories and change the trajectory of this program. I mean, I just want to say thank you to them, because they did. They had a lot of chances to be like, yeah, this is not what I signed up for. This is way too difficult. This is way too whatever you want to say. And for those young women to continue showing up the way they showed up to the last second of a conference championship game, it will always be something that I hold near and dear to my heart. Then obviously, you have the personal thank yous, and I'm going to try to make it through these without getting super emotional. But my family, my wife and daughters, as coaches, we know what we sign up for. Like, we pay a price to make an impact, and we know that. And they don't get to necessarily know what they're signing up for when they sign up for it. And so they pay a steep price too for us to make an impact on a university, on a community, on a group of young women. Like, I know the price I pay, and my wife especially pays a very, very steep price too for me to continue to do this. And so I'm just so thankful for her, and so appreciative of again, her willingness to continue to pay that price so that we can make an impact is a big deal. And then friends, family, there's all sorts of people I could go through, but I just want to make sure I got through those ones first before we started answering any questions, because would not be sitting here right now without any of those people.
I think it's important to recognize Elise. When we made the change and had Nate take over the interim, I knew that the ripples would reach far and wide, and there's a lot of things in life that are uncertain, and Nate sitting here as the next permanent head coach, that was not guaranteed. And we had that conversation, and it's hard not to think about family. It's hard not to think about a wife and the impact that those would have on family members. So I just appreciate what everybody's done to get us to this spot. So we'll take questions one at a time. None? All right, we're done, Nate.
We're out of here.
No questions.
Ken, I guess we could just stay with you and start with you. I guess when things were kind of unfolding over the last few months, what was, I guess, your timeline, kind of your plan of this interviewing process? I don't know what details you can share, but as far as how many candidates you were looking for, their timeline, because obviously this happened. The official hire was less than a week after the championship game. So can you maybe just kind of walk us through your timeline and your game plan to how approaching this hire?
Yeah. Once Coach Holsinger resigned and knew for sure we'd be searching for a new permanent head coach, really I started that process then in working through what we wanted to do on campus, who we wanted to meet with, who those candidates would be. I started that process of reaching out to some potential candidates, started talking to people that I knew. Word spreads really quick, so people get in touch with you. So I started to vet those with some people in the athletic department, got it down to the number that we wanted to, I did some initial Zoom calls, some initial phone calls, and then we actually visited with Nate between the end of the regular season and the start of Boise. He was okay with doing that, and then the rest of those happened really quickly when we finished it up in Boise, and made our decision over the weekend and announced it on Monday. I think we announced it on Monday. Monday, Tuesday, whatever day it was. So it moved quickly. The goal was, at first, really wanted to have someone in place before the transfer portal opened, but if that timeline wasn't going to be met, I said all along, I didn't want to do it really quickly just to have it be done, to meet that transfer portal. If we missed out on some transfer portals, we had some changes, I'd rather get someone that's long-term going to be a good, solid fit. We were lucky enough to have Nate rose to the top, and we were able to kind of get both things done where we could get it done quickly before the transfer portal. And he's already here. He's settled in. He moved one office over, made the timeline a lot easier.
Then Nate, for you, just as a whole, how would you describe the last couple of months? Now that you maybe got a chance to sit back and breathe a little bit, how speak to, I guess, tackling that challenge, of becoming, interim coach, a smaller staff, things like that. Like, just speak to, now that you've maybe had some time to reflect on that process that's led to now.
I mean, starting with unique, like obviously I don't know that that's ever a plan when you're, and then just obviously a great learning process. Like, it really helps you understand the value of now. Like, there's so many things that are beyond your control. I think it really helped. I think it helped our team because we became much more short-sighted. Like, it became about like just doing the next right thing. And then in a lot of cases, you have your most success when you stay really process-oriented, really short-sighted. And I think it was a great lesson in the value of now and the value of just focusing on doing the next right thing, because we didn't have the opportunity to plan. We didn't have the opportunity to go out and do all these things. We were just trying to turn a ship a little bit each week and try to get to what we thought was going to give us the best chance to be successful in Boise. Right? This will always, at the end of the day, be a league that, like, you need to be great for a week in March. And so the basketball portion of it was just trying to make the small changes, find a way to be as competitive as we can be for that week in March. The off the court was just trying to take as good a care of the young women in our program as possible, like in making sure that they were able to have an experience that was worthwhile and an experience that is going to positively impact them, and then also just give them better memories to end this senior year, because we were going to work really hard to make this a positive thing. So like I said, it just gave us this golden opportunity, this really great lesson of how important just doing the next right thing is.
Kent had mentioned just kind of your plan for the program and vision for it. Can you just maybe speak more to that, and specifically kind of in-state recruiting and just how important that is? Because it feels like a lot of Montana girls are now leaving the state entirely now, so maybe you guys are recruiting against bigger schools than in the past. Just the plan as a whole and that particular element too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that Montana has become it's always been a hotbed of really, really good high school girls basketball, but the secret is out. I always jokingly say with one of my dear friends, Jocelyn Tinkle, that like you kind of broke the mold here when she took off to Stanford. It opened the floodgates a little bit there, and so we just have to compete harder. And in today's day and age, that means that we have to make more aggressive offers to young women, and we can't expect anyone to stay somewhere just because they're from somewhere, right? If you're asking people to make altruistic decisions when they're 17, 18, 19 years old, that's just not fair to them. And so we have to compete harder. We have to be more aggressive in how we recruit them, in the offers we make to people, and then make sure that we're doing everything we can to make this a spot where you can accomplish anything that you can accomplish anywhere else. And so we just got to clean some of that up. I think that we will always be the University of Montana first. We need to do a better job in state. We're going to work really hard to do the things we need to be better in state. And like I said, I think that just means we've got to be significantly more aggressive in how we approach this process in 2025. Like, it's not the same as recruiting was in 2022. Like, it's not the same as it was 10 years ago, 20 years ago. It evolves and it changes, and how you feel about certain issues in today's day and age doesn't matter. Like, I don't necessarily know how I feel about a lot of the issues that face today's basketball. I know exactly how I feel about losing and not being as good as you want to be. And so we have to focus on having the best people in the room, from coaches to support staff to players. How do we make sure we have the most talented roster, top to bottom, in every game we play?
Nate, you talked about just what it meant to take over as interim, but now that it's official, just like what does that mean to you? What are the emotions? What does it feel like?
I'd love to be really eloquent and have some. It's just kind of surreal. Like, it's really weird to grow up. I grew up 45 minutes north here. My wife grew up, across the street from Big Sky High School, essentially. And so to watch, I came to the Boise State Montana game when they played two ranked teams in 94, when Coach Binford was on the team and they're playing. Like, I came to that game. I used to do my birthday parties where coming to Grizzly basketball games, going to football Saturdays, just all of the different things. What a unique athletic department, what a unique university, what a unique program this is. And so to really sit back and I think about what it means to be the head coach of this program is wild. Like, I wish I had better words. I don't. It's an honor. It's not something that we will take lightly. It's something we're going to work like crazy to make it really, really special again, and to make it something that people across the state can be proud of. But I don't think I can ever really sum up what it means, because it is a little bit overwhelming, more than a little humbling. Like, again, it's been a long process. I think about my first job, sleeping on the floor in my office at Montana Tech because I only got paid for 10 months out of the year. Like, I think about before I started women's basketball. Like, we were living in Missoula and we didn't have insurance. We were having a kid. Like, we were literally a month away from a kid, and I was working in a fireworks warehouse. You know what I'm saying? And luckily, Coach Wooden over at MSU Billings saved the day and got me health insurance before we had Henley. Like, otherwise, I don't know. We're on the government's dime. I don't even know what happens when you have a kid without insurance. So, and I think about, we bet on ourselves and we move 2,000 miles away to the middle of nowhere, Texas, and we meet the best people, and it was a tremendous experience. But you do all these things, you don't really know where it's going sometimes. You're just trying to do the best in the moment. And so to have it end up with this moment today here is, I can't think of a better word than wild, but it's amazing. It's awesome. Like I said, it's an honor, and it's nothing we will ever take lightly. But like I said, you go through the process of a career, and to be sitting here as the head coach of what I truly believe is one of the best mid-major women's basketball programs, a program that is one of the most important programs in the state of Montana, just all of the things that go along with it is, like I said, a little overwhelming and more than a little humbling.
Yeah, you kind of touched on it there, where the expectations, the history here. So what's it like, kind of with the pressure of trying to get it back to that success?
Yeah, I think it's really easy to try to run away from it, but the reason that we get 2,500 fans on a Thursday night in January is because of Robin Selvig and the work that he and the young women that came before in this program did. Like, you never want to stand on anyone else's shoulders and call yourself tall. And we're going to do the work to earn everything that comes with being in this program. But I'm not Robin. I'm never going to be, I can never be him. It's also 2025. It's different. But we're going to work to be the best version of ourselves every day. And we're going to work to be a version of this program that can have that level of success, because That's what the state deserves. That's what this university deserves. That's what this community deserves. And so it will always be our goal, because I've already said, like, I know exactly how I feel. I know exactly how I feel about being 9-8 this year. And yes, we played the conference title game and we were a second away from the NCAA tournament. Well, that's 1 second too many. Like, we will not rest until we are talking about our 22nd trip to the NCAA tournament in this program. Like, that's what our focus is on. And then once we get that, our folks will turn to how do we get there for a 23rd time. And then once you get there a few times, how do you win? And that's where we want to continue to honor this program, because this program is unique because of the people that came before us, but then we also want to figure out how to put our own stamp on it and be ourselves and make this a really cool thing in its own right.
When you take over, you can't make wholesale changes mid-season, things like that. Now that you're at this point, like, what are some things that you want to do to imprint, like, what you want into the program and moving forward?
I think you saw a lot of it in the conference tournament. We finally just kind of went for broke and said, you know what, we're gonna spread you out offensively and keep it really, really simple offensively. But I think you saw a much more physical, a much meaner version of us on the defensive end than we'd been in a long time. And so I think that'll always be our hallmark, is we have to become a more physical basketball team. We have to become a meaner basketball team. We have to become a team that competes their way through difficult times and doesn't try to do anything other than play as hard as we possibly can every chance we got. And that was maybe the best compliments we got during our week in Boise, is like, you guys are really guarding. You guys are defending. And, to have, former Lady Griz be like, this reminds me of how hard we used to play. This reminds me of how hard we used to guard. Like, that's what we want to be moving forward. And that's where I say that this group, not for nothing, like, they moved this program forward. They moved us closer to something really special because they set the tone defensively and with how hard they played. Like, I would defy somebody to watch that and find more than 5 50-50 balls that other people got to, throughout those 3 games. Like, we got to 50-50 balls. We got on the floor. We were physical. We held, really good teams in check defensively, and that's going to be the focus of what we do: a physical, tough, mean defensive team. And then offensively, we're going to try to spread it out. I'm not the smartest guy, but I did get a math degree from Montana Tech. Like, 3 is more than 2. We're probably going to take more 3s than most people. Like, oh, that's a lot of 3s. Well, they're worth more. It's okay. But again, we're probably not gonna. You're not gonna see 2 people. We're gonna keep the rim empty for people to have opportunities to make plays. And then I was really proud of the way we shared the ball down the stretch. That'll also be a hallmark of what we do. Like, we want to move the ball. We want to make it fun for the fans, fun for the players, and have a really good time doing it.
And I think, all fans of mid-major basketball, I think whenever they have, young talented players, you're worried that they're going to leave. I guess, can you shed any light on any conversations that you've had with girls on the roster and for that moving forward?
I don't necessarily know the rule. Yeah, we don't expect to lose any of our young players. We're excited about the future. We've had great meetings so far. They're excited about the direction we're going. We're excited. We're going to work really hard to take care of them in a way that keeps them in the maroon and silver for their entire careers. And so, we feel really good about the roster we have returning and the people we have coming back.
And then, Kent, what was it like kind of evaluating Nate throughout the year once he took over? And then how much did the success in Boise, and then also, we heard a lot of some of the player statements about how much they enjoyed playing for him and some powerful ones at the end of the year. How much did that play a role in keeping him around?
Well, one of the things as you're hiring a head coach, the most difficult thing is projecting what they will be like as a head coach. And we hire a lot of first-time Division I head coaches here. It's just how it is. And so it's amazing. It's only one chair over, and they get to stand up during the game, but it's a gigantic jump. And so as an athletic administrator, you want to reduce that risk as much as you can. And so being able to watch Nate for 17 games, get a chance to see how he interacts with officials, how he interacts with the public. And I understand he's kind of like the substitute teacher at the time, right? Like, he can kind of do whatever he wants because he's in the interim role, but you still get to watch how someone reacts, and you still get to see the adjustments that they make, how they treat people, and you get to reduce that risk of that move over to the head coaching chair. And so certainly watching all that played a big role in it, no doubt about it. Watching how the team performed in Boise was tremendous. It's exactly what we wanted to do. Now, on the downside of being an interim coach is you get to see some of the downsides too. and you can get, if you're an athletic director, you can get too caught up in that moment that wasn't great and how much weight's that going to play versus that moment that was great. I certainly knew that the players liked playing for Nate. He'd recruited them. But another thing is, I talked to the players, is this has got to be higher beyond your tenure here. You want players to be able to feel good about that coach and provide you that input, but it's also got to be projected beyond that. So all those played a role. Certainly the performance in Boise helps. There's no doubt about it. But the ability to watch somebody in the heat of the moment, how they react, how they adjust, how they take criticism, those are all real key points that I thought Nate did an excellent job with.
Nate, obviously the transfer portal opening up this week. I mean, this is a program that's been pretty active in the portal in recent years. Is that something you probably see to continue in this offseason? And also, if that's the case, kind of what would be your kind of sales pitch to prospective players?
I mean, I think that if you look across the college basketball landscape, both women and men, that the best teams, for the most part, are kind of the oldest and the most experienced right now. It's kind of the hallmark of really successful. The one exception would probably be the Duke men. You know, they're young, but a lot of the best teams are old and they're experienced. And so I think that we do need to use the transfer portal to get a little bit more mature, get a little bit more experience on our roster this year. I don't want it to be a hallmark of what we do forever. I think that there's a really special part of coming to a university and growing up with a fan base, growing up with each other, and then selfishly for me, my kids getting to grow up with them, like my kids. It's always been something I've really enjoyed, is my kids getting to grow up at the same time as these young women that are coming in here. But it definitely will be something we're going to use this year to get more experienced. That being said, like, what's the pitch? Like, you're going to play a fun style. You're going to play somewhere where it matters. I'm a father of 4 daughters. I wish that college women's basketball, and it's getting better. It's closing the gap rapidly. And I wish it mattered everywhere the way it matters here. But I'm incredibly blessed to work at a place where it does matter, where what you do is important in the community, at the university, on the court. Like, what you do as a women's basketball player here at the University of Montana matters. And so if you're a young lady that wants to go somewhere that matters, that wants to become a better basketball player, that wants to win a lot and have an experience that's unique, that we're really proud of, that we can vouch for with people who've been through it, like, I don't know, why wouldn't you choose us? And so we're gonna, like I said, it's not gonna be every kid, but you've got to spend the time. We have a great staff that's going to connect with people and spend the time and figure out the right handful of kids that are going to help us push the envelope and accomplish our goals next year. And then, you know, we've got to work even harder on the high school class of 26 and then the high school class of 27 to fill in behind, so that we can have those young people that our crowd gets to grow up with, right? Every fan base wants that. They want to root for a kid for multiple seasons, and we want to give them that opportunity, whether it's out of the portal or whether it's out of high school kids. Like, it makes it more fun. And then selfishly, I love the fact that my 11-year-old will, you know, connect with a kid and she'll be 16 when they leave, or, you know, whatever it is. And so that part's selfishly really, really fun for me.
And then as the offseason kind of gets going, what is kind of your timeline over the next few months and kind of how you look to start kind of attacking this role?
Number one is best people in the, like, we've got to finish off our staff. We've got to get the best players that we can get, and then we've got to get them on campus and get better for the summer. Now there's a litany of other logistical things that we've got to get ironed out, and there's details that we've got to get ironed out. We want to get our schedule done. We want to get that done far in advance and get that released. But our focus far and away right now is making sure that we have the best staff, the best roster possible, and that they're right back here on June 1st getting better and preparing for a successful season next year.
All right. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
Go
Appreciate
Griz.
it. Thank you so much.